Okay, for me it says recording.
Yeah, it says recording from you too.
Great, okay. I'm doing the cloud recording, so hopefully nothing breaks.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
that's fine. Couldn't even live stream. Anyone got a Twitch?
Okay, let's test sharing.
Nicholas Carlini is requesting. Oh, is that malicious? No, it looks good. Okay. Can you share now? Or yeah, okay.
Looks good.
Yeah, I see it. Okay.
Okay. Um, okay. So I guess we'll probably write a doc that we'll share in the Discord with like relative instruction steps for what we do when
Yeah,
we review tasks.
I'm
And
writing
then
that right
this,
now.
okay. And then this, I guess, will serve as a companion piece to that for anyone who wants to just like watch someone review tasks for a little while. And I'll just try and think out loud. And it would be good if you who are here ask the questions that the audience would have while watching this so that you can get a rough impression of the kinds of things that, so I can get an impression of what kinds of things people might want to know about when as I'm doing things. I'm gonna try and go for the like high quality nitpick kinds of things that I would generally be somewhat unhappy with on tasks. So I have here just the pull requests that are open. I might spend a little bit of time doing just open pull requests. And then I also have the new tracker for reviewing tasks that Mike put together that has a bunch of task runs, and I'll spend a little bit of time going through that. I don't know how long I'll spend on each, maybe 20 minutes on this, 40 minutes on the other thing or something. And I'll try and just open issues as I find things. I tend to do it a little bit differently because I'll just run tasks on my own machine also, but this is something that will be somewhat harder for people to replicate. And so I will just do the online version of it. I think it'll be easiest for people to follow exactly what I'm doing. So let's see. Let's find a task that people have that people have not commented on as much. What do I want to do? This one's passing, and this one was I thought might be interesting. Okay, so the task initially is to run a DOS executable emulate with wine. This one already has some comments. I see. Okay, so I already made some comments on this one. Let's go and just review it much more carefully, though. Um, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to read what the task description says and just try and get a sense of exactly what is supposed to be done and check this. I'm checking this mainly that it's written, looks like it's written by a person, which this one looks like there's not like 1,000 bullet points. It doesn't look like ChatGPT's wrote it. Um, Configure it properly. I'm somewhat worried about configure it properly because properly is not defined yet, but we'll see how that comes back to look. Demonstrated by running a DOS program successfully. Okay, create or retain a DOS executable. So I don't like this because I want there to be a nice verifiable test that the agent can run against. So the problem with creating a DOS executable is it might just create, an empty file, and then empty files like are potentially valid executables, but it will be trivially run by anything, even if it's not actually DOS correctly. It might also create a simple thing that just has like echo 1, and that would be too easy to cheat against. It could easily cheat and add a fake version of wine that will just execute and always return 1. So I'm worried about cheating here. I'm also worried about, yeah, capturing and running the output because it could just say echo 1 and then actually just put 1 into DOS output, and then that would have cheated. Create an execution script, run DOS. This also could just do echo 1. Ensure wine creates .wine as proof, but this is not actually. Okay, so my general comments here would be where the agent can cheat. The first way it can do this, making a fake run DOS that only runs the one program. created. Okay. And we also, while we want tasks to say all of the things in the instructions, we don't want tasks to say how we detect cheating. So don't say that we're looking for .wine as proof of work. This is how we detect cheating. Okay, let's comment there. I'm going to check that the difficulty is medium. That seems reasonable to me. I'm going to check that the timeout seems reasonable. That's like half an hour. It seems pretty good.
They didn't provide the time estimate.
Yes, that's good. Yes, we should do that. Thanks.
And I'm slightly worried that in their test they might be checking .vine directory, but it might not be a standard practice, or like you can use
Yeah,
vine without creating that directory. But I suppose the
exactly.
test might be checking.
Yeah, let's see what they're doing here. So they check which wine. This is fine. The thing I'm going to look back here is to make sure that did they say to add it to the path so that it can be run, install wine, configure it properly. So I'm going to want to make sure that they say make sure the task description says that wine is added to the path.
There
It
was
doesn't
actually
explicitly say that it needs.
I think there's a field missing actually, and it's a field that always confused me. What is estimated duration second? That's a field that I always got.
I see. So this is one that you don't have to fill in, but when we run tasks, we sort them by estimated duration so that there are no stragglers at the end. So the longest running tasks start first and the shortest running tasks go last. And estimated duration seconds is a task that we can fill in that we haven't used yet. If it's not filled in, it defaults to max agent timeout plus max test timeout divided by 2. It just assumes that it's in the middle. But if we know that some tasks take a really long time on average, we would like to start them first because that makes sure that we're sort of using the maximum parallelism the whole way through. Otherwise, what can happen is you end up running all of the tasks at concurrency, let's say 32. You get to the last task, and then at that task, it's like a 1 hour task, and so you just slow things down a lot.
Okay,
But
thanks.
if you don't fill in, it's basically fine.
And one question regarding the like adversarial threat model. Is it okay if I ask it now, or should we do like
Yeah, please go.
question?
Yes.
Yeah, so I discussed this with Ivan, I think is his name. What kind of cheating do we expect? Because, for example, right now the agent can just open GitHub, right? And just look at the solution.
Yeah.
So what's
Okay.
the
Yes, of
threat?
course.
What's the threat model? What are we aiming
The threat
for?
model is the agent is not actually out to be malicious, like just fully evil. Like, in principle, the agent could override UV so that when we install the UV test, everything fails immediately, and they could like make sure that every test always passes by overriding that. Because if you look at like the setup UV tests, like it's going to curl and then it's going to do these things. Like if the agent knew what was going to happen here, like it could really cheat. I think I'm not looking for that. What I'm looking for is honest things that the agent might do if it was like just being mildly evil that like would it it might think of as like a somewhat reasonable thing to do. That's like not like, trying to root the device or something to like truly malicious, but like, it could be reasonable that like it tries to set up
Mhm.
wine, it fails, and it's like, I couldn't set up wine, but I've done a demo for you. I made an example run DOS file that will run some DOS programs by my interpreter that I've written here, and like here's how that works.
Okay, more
And like
like
I've
a
seen this
yeah,
happen. And so
desperation thing.
yeah, exactly. Like I'm worried about the cases where the model is like, yeah, not like truly out to get us, but just like um is saying that seems too hard. Instead, I'll do the simpler task, and that simpler task also solves the thing. Um, yeah, okay. And so I don't like the way that it's generally like that the tests are not the task should be providing some .exe or .bat or something. Um, yeah, okay. So there's a hello.bat. What is hello.bat? Is there a hello.bat defined? I don't see that. The solution, okay, I see this. Okay, the solution is creating a hello.bat. But yeah, again, this is again not the way that I want it to be. I want this given by the Docker file um, and new.bat files to be tested in the test framework. Okay. Yeah, so at present, this is not something that I feel like I'd be that comfortable merging, but this is the kind of thing. What is this for? Hidden. I see, yes, hidden um, files don't work this way. Um,
Yeah, I think this is a common problem a lot of people
yeah,
make. They just change the permission to the folder and just assume agents wouldn't be able to read it. But by default, agents have root access, so they can read anything.
yeah, and so this will, if you just add it to the tests, it'll get copied automatically. Okay, so let's request changes here.
Maybe one
Okay,
question with the root access. Is it better to have a rootful like, so what I try to do often is like prevent manipulation of data. That was an issue with many tasks I did. And I 2 times did a rootless agent, but then kind of the actions the agent can take are much more limited, right? Without root. It can't install app packages and stuff.
yep.
What's the trade-off? Like either put data in the repository or do rootless, or what's the goal here?
In general, you should just copy tests only at the time at which you need the things available to you. Because then there's absolutely no way it can cheat. If like the tests are on the machine, it's like harder to verify you couldn't have cheated in some way. So I would like, if at all possible, don't give the tests ever. But if they have to be available and on the machine for some reason, then try and do it without giving the agent root, and then we can see what happens.
Okay, so rootless is not generally like a worse task.
No, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
We do have some tasks that give agents non-root access. Like in a task, we just have to do it because the task itself is to ask agents to escalate its permission to get root access. So it's definitely doable, but most tasks just give root access.
Yeah.
Great, thanks.
Okay. I see this one has no comments. Let's look at this one. Okay,
Nicholas,
what's the task?
I actually wonder if it would be helpful for you to review a task that had already been merged.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that maybe in like 10 minutes. I'll do another one.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah. I wanted to just like go through some common failures of ones, and then I'll start going. And I have your viewer here that I'll go through in like 10 minutes. I'll start doing that for the next half hour. Okay, what's this task? This one, okay. Using CSVs and inputs, count systems that satisfy the following requirements. I see. Okay, so this is going to be something that is somewhat of a data processing task. So, okay, so this one scares me off the bat because it's asking for like 8 different things to be required here, and this means that there's going to be a lot of tests. And the tests are going to have to match this exactly in ways that I'm kind of worried about. I'm worried about tie breaking because this again is in place where things can go wrong. Third-party Python packages are unavailable. I don't know what that means. We can always just import them. Leave no temporary files is not something we can verify. All of the sorry, so the first comment, this looks LLM generated to me because I don't understand why a person would have commented on these things being around. So first, let's just ask by hand. If not, please. And the reason why we're very particular about the no LLM written things is that I want a human to have reviewed every word that was typed to make sure that they believe that the things that they're saying are specified exactly in the tests. So we can say here, solution.sh. This. We can say that we can't test for leave no helper files. We shouldn't ask for it. I'm not going to say that this is wrong on the first part just because I can't test, like it's not actually wrong.
Sorry, why
But
can't we check that there are no helper files left behind?
well, what if they put it in /temp? Like, I mean, I don't know, like, are we gonna look everyone on the entire machine?
Right, but they do say in app.
Okay. Let's see what they test for. Test schema, test cleanup. Okay, I'm just very worried about this file because I don't understand what's happening here.
Yeah.
I see. Okay, so here's some cleanup test. Okay, like, part of the reason why I guess I don't really care about this so much is like, this is not an interesting component of this task. What this task is asking for is like, can you do a certain thing? I want to like not like sort of failing models for dumb reasons is not something that is that interesting to me. Like just like this doesn't like remove like cleaning up after yourself seems like a sort of, I don't know, somewhat uninteresting component of the verification here. But yeah, okay, I can just delete this version of this comment. And I'll just stay here. Not fail for leaving. That's independent of the task that you want. Okay, so now the thing that really scares me is this 100-line function that I don't understand what's happening. So let's try and see if there's anything that we can do to try and make this look good. If we can't find a way that like to understand this quickly, what I'm going to do is just ask them to rewrite this in a way that will convince me that this is correct and that like there's like a one-to-one mapping between what they're asking for.
It seems that they have a very strict requirement on the formatting, which is very hard
Yes.
for reviewers to check.
Yeah, but I think, yeah, okay. So I'm going to ask us two things here. Maybe we'll just like make this one be pretty fast. One, have you run with any strong agents and checked why they fail? If yes, could you please tell what you found as the failure? Okay, so this is the first thing. And that will at least help them debug this for me. And then I'm going to say I'm very worried. These tests that you're checking for things that are hard. That there, here's test.yaml. And I'm going to try and give them one or two examples just to be nice. Where I was just like any regular expressions concern me right away. I don't know what's this sys dash. Maybe the sys dash is fine because they create these as numbers. Analyze systems equals. Where did they say this? Okay, I'm worried about white space here.
So they actually wrote some stuff in the
Yeah, they
description. I'm not
did,
sure. Yeah.
but they didn't like if you so they wrote this here. They say write this equals this equals this equals. But like suppose that you gave this to a person and they put white space here.
Oh, sorry, I
Like,
meant in the like pull request description, like in the very first tab. I'm not sure if we looked at it. Maybe I missed the
I
part.
see. What
They
did they
they
say?
ran it with some agents, and they also have like 3 bullet points why it failed.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then I would have expected.
that's what we ask in the checklist. So
Yes. So okay, so the fact that the agents pass does not convince me. So when the agent is failing, what I want to know is why. Yeah, okay, so okay, this is helpful to see. I'm unconvinced that this is like the only thing that's going wrong when you're running the agents because yes, this like okay, so this is good to see that good models are solving it, but like oftentimes the good model solving it just means that like they inferred the right thing that you were asking for. And so like I do think this is just wrong that the white space here is not allowed. If you don't allow white space, then the task should exactly say match this format. Because like if I gave this task to a human and said do this, and they put analyze systems equals 5 comma space or analyze system space equals space x, they did the task, they passed. Like I didn't tell them like that it had to follow like this thing without white space.
Yeah. And a second thing is they say exactly these 3 lines. I'm not sure whether I should put 1, 2, 3 at the beginning of the line.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, right. If you want a specific, can you, I think it's just better to just be like generous in what it accepts. And I don't know, like it's kind of hard to,
or maybe give a concrete example of what exactly
yeah.
you're looking for.
Exact example, or can you make it 5 lines and or 3 and split the last to 3 last line each. Generally, this is ambiguous. And then z to 1 decimal. Yeah, okay. So like it's just like a number of these things that like are just like getting particular. And in general, this thing, I don't feel like I have a way to verify this. I don't think that way to reliably verify that the tests exactly match these requirements. And like I understand this is kind of a frustrating thing as a task creator to get as a comment. But like if we can't verify it, we can't merge it. And so you have to make something that is easy to be verified in this way. Okay, so that's maybe I'll do that's these two, and this is how I do this kind of merging, or this kind of reviewing here. Now let's look at some already accepted tasks. Let's do one that I didn't write. Home server HTTPS. Okay, what's this one like? Sorry.
And can anyone access this page? Is it going to be linked in the doc?
Yeah, it should be public. Anyone can access it.
Cool.
Okay. Let's look at home server HTTPS. Let's look at the task.
There's also a link in the top right corner of the viewer that should take you right there.
Oh, there is. Great. Okay, thank you. View on GitHub. So there is. It was being covered by the chat. Set up a home server that can access via HTTPS. Cannot use HTTP-based cert validation, generate an SSL certificate, and configure HTTPS properly. Okay, this one seems difficult, but at least well specified so far. Configure this using DD client for home server.local. Generate SSL certificates. Configure Nginx. Create a simple HTTP page. Okay, ensure the server is accessible. You have these tools, that's fine. Doesn't need them. Nginx. Okay, let's see what happens. So I'll go here and just, what I'm going to do is just watch this go. And all I'm watching for is just trying to get a sense of like how it's approaching the problem to see what it's doing. Okay, it generated the file. You created a home server.local. Okay, so it curled it and it got a success, but it curled with -k. that's insecure, so maybe we'll see. Couldn't find home server.local. What I'm looking for is if the agent thinks that it worked, but that it actually didn't. But so it thinks that it worked. So let's now see what ended up failing. So debug here has. So the task instructions say save them to home server local here. So let's go back and check exactly what the task instructions say. Save them to this, okay. But don't specify exactly the exact file names for the certificate files. The tests expects this. Let's check that. Sorry. No matter where I put the chat window, it's always overlapping with something. Okay, so this is expected here. I feel like I have an issue about this one already, actually. This one I'm pretty sure I filed. Let's double check though. What's the task name? HTTP home server. Yeah, I actually do have an issue exactly on this. Okay, so we found the same thing that I found last time. So this is okay. This is the first issue, so we should have someone fix this because the test files are not described. And so yeah, this is a common failure.
Does that file appear in the Oracle solution?
Almost certainly, yes.
Because we do have a check that if a file name appears both in test and Oracle solution, it must also appear in the task instruction.
This was only added later, so let's check the. Oh, but this is not checked here. This is not showing up here.
No, it's not debug. It's in CI.
Yeah, okay, we should add it maybe to debug some there then or something.
Oh yeah. It debug. It has somewhat implicit thing like behavior in task description, but maybe we should.
Yeah, but it'd be good to check this exactly.
Yeah, sure. Add that and double check why CI didn't catch this.
Yeah, this one might just be old. I think this one's added before you added the CI thing.
Yeah, but I ran the CI against all the existing tasks.
I see. Okay. Yeah, okay. So this is an example for the kind of thing that happens a lot where the task expects something that's not there. And so like as is, we would I would probably fix this one, but because this one looks pretty easy. But my concern is that if we fix things, there will be another problem that exists later. And so like my guess is we'll fix things and then rerun the this viewer over the fixed tasks. And if the second time it's not passing flawlessly, I'm probably just going to reject it because I'm going to assume that there are more problems that we haven't found. Let's pick something else to run. Our largest eigenvalue, let's look at that. Okay, this at least says everything's good. Let's though view on GitHub, look at the task, what this one is. Find the dominant eigenvalue and eigenvector for a real valid square matrix. Okay. Implement it in app eigen.py, optimize it so that it runs faster than the reference solution in eval on revalue up to 10 by 10. Should return a residual less than 10 to the minus 10. What? Oh yeah, I'm worried about this just because floating point math might make this hard, and so we can check to see what the residuals end up actually looking like, but I'm somewhat worried about that. Largest magnitude. Function may return complex outputs, non-symmetric general. I'm not sure why we're saying this. I think that someone put this in because they wanted, this was something that LLM complained about or something.
I'm worried about the word may.
Yes.
What does may even mean?
Well, this was fine. Like it is possible for non-symmetric matrices to output real valued matrix. Like there exist non-symmetric matrices that output real valued outputs, but it might be complex. I'm just curious what they're doing in the case where it's complex and why they wanted to say this in the first place.
Right.
Well, I guess
Yeah, makes sense.
let's see what they say here. How are they testing this? Like if nothing here happens to do with anything complex, then like I don't know why they're telling me about this, because like of course this is true. There's a true fact of mathematics that you might have complex eigenvectors. Yeah, so I would probably ask that comment be removed. Let's see what happens when we run. Why are these things timing out? Okay. So I'm worried about timeouts just because timeouts often indicate that just that we're not giving enough time for things. Let's see what happens. It writes the code. Okay. Fine. What happens? Okay, nothing interesting. Okay, what is the thing here? It's not finding the true dominant, failing dominant. That's pointing back accuracy. Okay, so I'm worried about failing the residual test. Because I think that one I think is potentially problematic. So let's try and see in more detail exactly what's happening. Yeah, okay, I'll have to download this separately. Okay, so I would come back to this one. Bo, do you want to mute yourself? We can hear you typing really loud.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That's impressive typing speed, though.
So let's take a look to see exactly what's happening here. So I'm worried about is close because this is like floating point math is just like very, very yeah, very tricky to get right. And they did ask for 10 to the minus 10. I'm just not sure if that's a reasonable thing to ask for. Relative residual.
But I mean, if they have an Oracle solution, why would it not be reasonable for the agent as well? Do you think it's like too random, this particular form?
Yeah, like that's what I'm worried about. That like some of the times it can pass, but some of the times it can't. What are they doing in their solution? Okay, I don't love this task anymore. If the solution is just like import a package that solves it for you and then call the package. Because I'm worried that this package is doing something in particular that is not being asked for in the solution or in the task description. Because it's not obvious to me that everything that they're asking for is like actually. Let's go back to see what are they doing? Time function. Yeah, so like so my primary concerns that I don't want to spend the time on this call doing this, but the things that I would now do is I would actually go and run this on my machine and try to see for the failing tests exactly how far off it is and like what the timing problems are and what's going on for this failing. Because while I have no evidence that this is a problematic case, I'm kind of worried about the timing being very hard. And I'm kind of worried about the all close. This is saying the eigenvector is non-zero. That I guess is maybe okay. Yeah, and this is the threshold check. Yeah, so I'm still kind of worried about this threshold check. That's not obvious to me that solutions that are valid, like that it's possible to always make 10 to the minus 10. Maybe it is. It might be fine. I'm just not immediately convinced about this. But let me move on to another one, just because I think that this one, for the most part, seems reasonable. I think my primary concern is just that the solution file isn't actually a person solving it. They're just calling out to something, and it's very likely or very plausible that the solution file they're doing is doing something implicit that we didn't ask for. And I don't know how to verify that exactly. But so far, I haven't necessarily found a problem with this.
Did they fix the seed in the random function? I saw a lot of calls to NP random.
Yeah, they didn't. It maybe be better if they were to fix the seed just for the test to be deterministic. That's a good point. But I'm not super worried. Like, you know, yeah, with floating point stuff, there's going to be a lot of randomness involved anyway. I think it would be better practice if they were to fix the randomness seed here. But I wouldn't reject the task from inclusion for that reason.
Fair.
But I think that it would be like I probably would just fix that in a PR and then just not, but and then accept the task. Like I wouldn't feel like I need to rerun. Okay, let's find another random one that I don't recognize. Pcap to netflow. I don't recognize this one. Let's see what's going on here. Build a Python script pcap to netflow, read a standard pcap file, aggregate the packet data into netflows, and export these into a directory of binary netflow v5 files. Input this, output that. What's the format of the exact process? Okay, so they're going to call it path to input pcap, path to output dir. It says number, but what's the number? So I'm a little bit worried about this number. Does that matter if it starts with 0 or starts with 1, or just like is any random number like 500 or something? If the number of generated files matches the expected count, fine. Sort the flows by timestamp and verify sample flows against expected values. I don't understand what this means. Yeah, I don't understand. Like, so as a human reading this, sort the flows by the timestamp and verify some sample rows against expected values. What? Yeah, this is not meaningful to me as a person to read this. Okay, but let's try and see what happens when the agents go. First, let's just start the debug. Okay, the debug is complaining already.
Maybe one question here. What do you do if there's like domain knowledge? Like, I don't know if it's obvious to someone who knows the domain what aggregate into network flow means. Maybe I just don't know what it means.
Yeah, I roughly know what that means. I tend to assume if it's a domain knowledge question, I just assume that it probably means something, but I would, if I didn't find another reason, come back to that.
Okay.
But yeah, so yeah. Like this looks, okay, these are both timestamps in milliseconds though. So yeah, this one's just looking a little bit worrying to me because this is the kind of thing I imagine might be a failure. Let's check another failure to see. Okay, this one, the agent made a mistake and assumed that they were in 32 or something. That's a Gemini problem. Doesn't provide the details of the file format. Doesn't explain that. Okay, so this is roughly my concern. And so like what I'm looking for here, sometimes you'll find that the agent finds something you didn't pick up on. I have seen that definitely, but usually what happens is the agent messes up in a way that feels like when I was reading through a task description, that felt like the kind of thing that I might have made a mistake on. And if the agents are actually making mistakes there, that's when I get concerned. Let's see what they do in the solution. Oof. Okay, I don't like this because it's enormous and that's hard for me to understand what it's doing, but let's come back to that later. Let's check the tests first. The tests look reasonable. Okay, this does not look impossibly sort of annoying. Let's see what's happening. So it's importing NetFlow v5 to parse it. So that at least is a good thing to know. Okay. Not sure why they're testing in this class thing, but fine, that's okay. Okay, so whenever I have this, I worry about, so this is not gonna, okay, so this is gonna fail for a couple reasons. The first reason that this run is gonna fail is that it's doing a UV run, which is not gonna import any dependencies that the agent might have installed by its own. So if the agent pip installed 5 different packages, UV run is not going to have those 5 different pip packages installed. So that's going to the agent will fail for that reason. The other reason why it's going to fail is if it's importing something as a local dependency, unless you set the current directory with cwd = /app, any imports from that this Python script makes is also going to fail. So those are two immediate things that are going wrong here that we'll have to come back to. But that's on top of anything else that we're going to look for. Okay, expecting it gets the correct number of flows. That seems fine. I haven't checked, but that probably is right. I don't like that when there are multiple tests, because if it didn't create any, of course there are not 1209. So I think I would just delete this one. That looks suspicious. Okay, now let's see. Flows sub-0. Okay, so I don't know how the order of the flows is done, but maybe the number doesn't matter. But I don't. This is where the domain knowledge comes in. Like I don't know how flow sub-0 gets defined. But this looks like there could be lots of things going wrong here. Let me try and see where it's getting this data from.
It could be the case that they write the solution first and then they check the results and then write the test.
Exactly, yeah, but I want to see where the data is coming from. Oh, okay, so this is going to be kind of hard. Small flows.pcap. Okay, so this one again will take some time to verify, because I'm going to want to look at, I'm going to want to open these small flows in, whatever. So like if I'm blanking on the name of the pcap, the UI that I usually open these things in.
Like Wireshark, or what is it? I'm just
yeah, sorry,
guessing.
Wireshark. Yes, yeah.
Got it.
Yes, and verify that the first one by time is actually like has this timestamp and things, because let's see, where was it failing? It was failing on this one. Okay, so this one looks like a sorting thing. Yeah, so the immediate things that I think I'm concerned about are that the sorting looks potentially confusing, and that this run, so that this run thing usually succeeds. So like most of the times agents will write one file and will not pip install random things. But I don't want an agent that were to write multiple files to fail because of that. So let's go back to the task here. And yeah, so what I'll do after this is I'll open a couple of issues on this one for those problems, and then I'll have this. Okay, so if they're gonna have this, like sort by the timestamps, I think it would be good to say ascending or descending, which I think is the problem. That's my guess is the problem here, because this one looks like the biggest and this one looks like the smallest. If I remember from the task, I can actually just go back to they had sub-0 in the last one too. The last one, sub-0 is 12.9. Oh, they're all 12.9.5. So then where is it getting this 17.1 from? Okay, so I would try and look at what this is going on here to see that. But at least what I'm going to do is sort by their timestamps. You need to tell me ascending or descending. I might tell it, the agent, what the first timestamp should be, just because this I think would be a useful thing that would be like it would resolve lots of ambiguity. I'd want to specify exactly what number.netflow actually meant. And then I would want to fix the Python call. So those are the things that I would look for on this one. And I would not merge or accept this one without those ones being done. Let's do one more and then I'll stop. Regex log. This concerns me because it mentions regexes. Okay. Let's see what it says. Task instructions are there here too. Okay. Oh, I might have actually raised an issue about this one already. But let's see. Write a regex that matches dates in the format year, month, day, appearing in lines that contain an IPv4 address in a log file. Multiple dates are present. Regex should match only the last one. February can have 29 days in all years without distinguishing leap years. Okay. IPv4 addresses. Decimal notation without leading zeros. Save your regex. The regex to lead. Okay, so I like the fact that it tells me exactly how it's going to match. This is good. Because this tells me that like the agent is not going to get confused on the exact format of the regex to do things in. So let's see what the debug complained about. So the test expects rejection of this. That seems fine to me because that's not a valid IP. And rejection of dates, I don't know why that would be. Oh, 30. Okay, because there's never 30 days. But that makes sense. So this seems fine. So I think the test verification is wrong here on these two counts. The thing where it might be right on is maybe on these. So let's go look at this one in a little more detail. See what this, okay, so the solution is just a big ugly regex, which is, I guess, is like what all regexes are. Okay, fine, whatever. Let's see what the tests are. Okay. Okay, I like that they've commented this. This makes it very easy for me to see what's going on. Very nice. Yes, should match. So this one should match. I agree. I agree. What's the one where it complained about? It complained about the one that had ABC, right? Okay. This one I disagree with because it doesn't say exactly if the IP addresses have to be preceded by a space. 192.168.1.1 is a valid IP. The fact that ABC happened to be there does not make this an invalid IP address. So I would ask that it either be clarified that IP addresses must be preceded by a space or by some white space character. Does it say anything about this? No. Okay, so I would reject that for this reason, that the APC must be sort of done. Same reason here. I would, unless it said that the date had to be like that, then this seems wrong. Because you could also imagine, you know, that it has a date and then puts a period. Like I'm not sure. Like maybe their regex special case is that, but this seems wrong. So yeah, so I don't like any of those being failing. And so I will file an issue for those ones where those ones I think should not be failing unless the agent is given in specific instructions that doesn't count. This seems right. That one seems right. The agent was incorrect here. These ones I like that they're testing 256. Okay, this seems basically good, and I would ask that those are corrected before we would want to merge these. Okay, that's enough of that. I will go back and make issues for these ones. Any questions for people here? Otherwise, we can post this recording and hopefully have other people go through and try and be very, very pedantic about pointing out issues.
Is this a call to basically anyone from the Discord to review?
Yes, yeah. So we're going to try and get anyone. So if anyone wants to do this and just post lots of issues, that is the thing we would like. And like, I think I would rather see pedantic issues And then we can just close the issues if someone thinks it's a problem but they're not certain, just post the issue. And then we can just be like, yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but like we're fine with that. We think it's good enough. I would rather see more of those than not. I think the number one thing I'm concerned about why people might not like the benchmark is that because it's very agentic in this way, the thing that we're asking for might not be sufficiently well specified in the tests. And like I don't want to score agents incorrectly because they got things wrong, and I don't want to score agents correctly because they cheated in some way. And like each of the tasks that I've been showing so far, like it's usually the errors are on the point where the agents would be insufficiently would fail for bad reasons, not because of cheating. Because usually cheating is like this is what people are usually keeping in mind when they're writing their tests. Like you notice these tests are like quite extensive, and cheating is usually pretty hard in this way. Where again, like towards the comment at the beginning, if the model had overridden the regex function, like of course, like if all bets are off, it could cheat in some crazy ways. But like most like this was like a pretty extensive set of test cases, and it catches the cases where the agent might have been wrong, testing 256 and things like this. What it's not doing is sort of telling the agent sufficiently that it should be rejecting on these cases here. So yeah, this I think is the number one failure mode for these kinds of things. And so when we go through, this is really what we're going to be looking for in trying to fix the tests or sort of ask people to fix them or file issues in exactly this way. So I just encourage as many people as possible to try and find as many of these issues as they can.
And so you were also going through already merged tasks, right? Do we care most about those or PRs, or what's the
Yeah, so for
priority?
the next day, we care about PRs that look like they're likely to get merged. I think by the time anyone is listening to this, probably that will have already happened. If people wanted to do it today, that'd be great, but there's like only, like not very many hours left in today. For the rest of the weekend, though, we're going to mainly go through merged tasks. What we're going to do is we're going to collect all of the tasks that have made it into the data set so far, and we're going to have, okay, so 165 here, and we will make roughly 100 of these the actual version 2 TerminalBench. And we want all of those tasks to be really high quality. And so if any of them have problems, we want to not include them until the problems are fixed. And so we would really like to know from anyone if anyone can find issues in any tasks so that we can fix them before we put them into the dataset. Okay, great. Alex, anything that you wanted to say?
No, that was really helpful. So yeah, we'll post it and
Okay,
make some noise in the Discord and stuff.
great. Yeah, thanks. And hopefully we see, I don't know, like maybe 50 or 100 issues that are raised in the next couple of days so that we can go and fix things, because I expect that many, or at least that many problems with tasks. Okay, let's stop the recording then and figure out how to post this thing.